Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another Orbs Adventures. As always, my name is Stark, and I'm your host, as per usual, I guess. Today's map is Acheron Wastes, so let's see what we get in this first game here. Looks like we're going to be getting Sir Heck against Chobo, a Terran versus a Protoss, and there's our first player to leave. I guess because he didn't get in the game. Whatever. We'll see how this turns out. As I mentioned today, it is Acheron away, so spawning down in the right-hand side, we have our blue Terran player, Sir Heck, and his opponent, the yellow Protoss of Chobo. So sort of as this game gets underway, I don't really know, actually. I had something on my mind, but I can't really think of it right now. But it might come back to me sooner when something actually interesting is actually going on in the game, because as we know, for the first generally 3 to 4 minutes of a game of Starcraft, it's basically make workers, make your supply, and then go into it. I mean, scouting is important, definitely, but, you know, for the first 2 minutes or so, kind of sit back in your nice little base. Let's watch the Terran for a little while. Just because I've been watching a lot of Protoss games, and it's interesting to see new, well, not new stuff, but it's a change just to watch the Terran instead of the Protoss. So what's he going to do? He's going to send out 2 SCVs, probably going to try to wall this off actually, maybe. Yep, there's the barracks going down, and we have our scouting SCV coming down. By putting the barracks here, it tells me that he's actually going to try to do a quick expand and try to wall this off rather than to wall this off, obviously. And our Protoss player is sitting at the probe, and he's going to actually see this and hopefully come to the same conclusion that I have. He's doing his gateway, he's got his assimilator coming down, so I expect to see a cyber core coming down relatively shortly after this gateway is finished. Maybe even doing a Zealot, Stalker, Mothership Core harass, because it's fairly popular, especially against Terran. And this probe is going to start picking away at this SCV. Can he kill it? Well, not sure. There we go. Oh, looks like he does. He does scare it away and delays the production. And that SCV is definitely going to die. So that hero probe delays the barracks quite a bit. And he's going to go start working on the next SCV here. But now, let's see if he can chase it off. It looks like he might. He may. If he was quick, he could have dropped a pylon here, and that would have further delayed this expand that's going to be inevitable from our Terran player, since that's what he's going to be trying to do. But right now he's just trying to get the scouting information going down. So he sees there's no gas right now, so it's probably a good inclination that he's going to expand. See, if he had dropped the pylon, this wouldn't happen here, though, and it would have delayed it quite a bit more. And what's our Protoss player up to? He does have his cyber core down, he does have his mothership core on the way. It's rallied all the way down here, so that tells me that he may actually go for a bait of mothership core harassment. He's dropping his nexus, whereas this SCV is going to go out and see what's going on. He's going to see that there is a mothership core right there. This mothership core is going to chase off the SCV and try to follow it down to kill it. Maybe not. He's just going to let it see what's going on. He already knows. By seeing the mothership core, he knows that there's a cyber core here. There's the warp gate coming in. And we do have the chrono boosted zealot on, or not zealot, stalker on the way. And that pro block was pretty good, actually. Now, the thing is, it's got these 4 marines here. He's not trying to finish off this wall. He's only got the 1 barracks. He's got a lot of money here. He's doing double gas, which is kind of interesting, I'd say, because he doesn't really have anything that really needs gas right now. He might be saving up for something useful, but we'll see a lot that happens along the way. So our Protoss player now drops his Twilight Cancel and the Forge. So we're going to see, it's going to be kind of interesting what we see out of our Protoss player in this game. Just going to harass with the mothership core and try to pick off as many SCVs as possible. These marines are going to roll out and try to kill this, and being pretty savvy, actually. Our Protoss player evacuates the core relatively early, where the zealot comes in and sort of starts poking at the front here. But there's a bunch of Marines that are just going to kill this Zealot. So they're not going to do that much damage to it, but it did a little bit of damage. I mean, you did manage to kill one SCV that was with the mothership core. Stalker didn't really get to do too much, got scared off by the 5 Marines, so now we're going to get the factory and double barracks coming down from a Terran player. He still doesn't have that many workers on here, but he probably has a couple over here. Well, not really, actually. 4 and 7, so he's got 11 mining on the mineral patch. He's only got 5 on the gases, but again, Terran players can drop mules. He's got double mule going in, so that's going to definitely help stabilize his income until he can get the worker count back up. Whereas our Protoss player, sitting quite healthy at a good saturation up here, and he's not making anything here right now, but he was earlier. So he's still sitting pretty healthy in his economy. He's got a little bit of money in the bank, but he's going to go for Storm and probably maybe some Colossus at this point. Because from what he's seen, he knows that there's barracks on the way. So we can expect kind of a Marine Marauder heavy army. So Colossus is going to be quite more useful. But Storm's also incredibly useful against the Marines. Because you drop a Storm, and if they don't dodge properly, they pretty much die. Where is Size Storm? I can't actually see. It does like 80 damage or something like that. If I recall correctly, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure it's around 75 to 80 damage, because I think they leave Hydralisks at 1 health, and Hydralisks have 80 health or something like that. There goes the bunker, going to drop a missile turret, which is a good position, because it will prevent any type of Dark Templar coming in, but our Protoss player doesn't have any, and our Terran player hasn't actually scattered him out, because he's been dropping all of his energy onto mules right now. And this mothership core is just continuing up the harass, already up to 3 kills. He's managed to kill 3 SCVs, and now he gets scared off by a couple of Marines. So having a fairly passive game from both players. There. Can't talk today, not sure why. And there's the Immortals, because he knows that, well, I did see a couple Marauders with the mothership core, so Immortals are definitely going to be the answer to help this out, rather than Colossus. I mean, you could get Colossus as well. Colossus are very effective at killing Marine and Marauders. But Immortals are flat better at killing Marauders, because I think they do 50 damage to armored, and Marauders only have 125 health, so basically they 3-shot them, and they do it in that kind of dancing style. So it looks like we're going to get a little bit of poking harassment, deal with this Stalker, and is he going to follow it up, is the question. We do have a proxy pylon coming down from our Protoss player, in order so he can reinforce when he does eventually decide to attack. He's got level 2 ground weapons on the way, he's got Zealot charge, and he's getting another gateway down to bring his total to, what, 1, 2, 6? No, to 5. Which isn't bad, it's a nice number. Honestly, you could fit on 2 bases, especially 2 saturated bases, you can probably do about 8 gateways. Between 6 and 8, you generally want to do 4 per base, because that lets you spend through that money as you're making it, and also it definitely helps with your reinforcement. So we are going to get a bit of a poking harass to see what our Protoss player's up to, and he's going to see that he's got some gateways at the front. He's going to see what kind of army he's got. He's going to try to do as much damage as he can, which this type of army, this Storm's actually going to clean up most of it. Managed to kill 2 Marines, severely weakens the army, and now they're just going to get completely cleaned out by the remainder of the force. And this Marauder, with his 1 health, is going to try to run this quickly as it can back to its base. Now, it doesn't actually have any medevac support yet, does he? There's one. There's the first medevac, second medevac. So this one Marauder will get healed up, and then maybe you can actually go in. But it looks like we did get a bit of a drop here. Not too... Well, this Marine's picked up 3 kills, so a lot of these probes did go down. This was at about 20 before, now it's at 10. So a lot of those probes did get hit there. That's pretty much the main loss that we've had. Now we're going to have a battle coming in right now. Starstorm's going to clean up this nicely, though, forcing the Terran to retreat, and the time warp goes down. Pretty much going to be out microed. Kills a couple of Zealots, but he can't... Oh, the High Templar doesn't have any more... Doesn't have anything else. Huh. Time warp affects your own units. Interesting. Good to know. Good to know. No, maybe. Oh, that wasn't Time Warp. That's the concussive shell. I'm silly. And he just decides to leave because he probably realizes that he's going to lose. He can GG and continue to watch, but hey. So, Chubbo played a great game that time. Rather effective. Let's see what's going up here. We've got Tartar the Zerg against Door Drive the Terran. So this will be interesting. I hope. I always like Zerg versus Terran because it's like ants and marines and I don't know, spacey. It's like a movie or something. But we'll see. Hopefully it's fun. Hey, that Hellion has blue flame. That's good to know. Normally, I don't think I've ever seen the Hellion in the load screen with the blue flame before. So again, now we have this start of another game basically now. So we have to wait for another couple of minutes before something interesting actually happens. But down here in the bottom right hand side, we have the dark grey, I want to say that color is. Looks kind of greyish. Kind of, yeah, greyish black. Sort of. It blends in nicely with the texture on the command center though. So charcoal grey is what I'd say. Yeah, it's very charcoalish. So we have our charcoal Terran in the bottom right hand side and our green Zerg Tartar up in the top left hand side of Akalon Wastes. And we'll see sort of what goes on, shall we? So we're going to get our Overlord doing something. Come on, Mr. Overlord. Get to where you're going. We don't know, because I wasn't paying attention to where... Oh, looks like he's being told to go right there. It's blinking right at me, so yeah. That's where it's going. So we're going to have all SCVs coming out about the appropriate time to cover this distance on the map. Since this is a relative... Well, it's a long map, or diagonally, but overall it's fairly short in comparison to some of the other ladder maps. Doesn't take all that long to get across this. Like, I noticed this SCV about here about 30 seconds ago, or in-game time 30 seconds. And so it only takes about maybe 30-45 seconds to get from one base to another. So sending him out around the minute 45 mark will get him into this base at a relatively good time to see what's going on. It looks like we do have a pool first from our Zerg player. Looks like he did a 15 or... judging where the pool is, probably did about a 14 pool. But we'll see. I'm going to try to scare this SCV off, and he's banking up a lot of minerals, so this drone's actually probably going to be the hatchery drone. And this SCV is going to try to stop it and, you know, delay it as long as possible, because hey, that's a fairly solid tactic. Throws down the supply depot, which will further delay the hatchery from being built. So now he's going to get to attack it. So this is actually delaying this hatchery by probably about 30 seconds overall. And the SCV is going to try to come back and delay it a little bit further. Ends up dying, but again, this hatchery has now been delayed for almost a minute now in-game time, and still not even starting to build yet. And because of that, our Zerg player has managed to bank up a massive amount of money. Still hasn't dropped it yet. So there we go, finally. So he drops it quite a bit later than would have hoped, whereas our town player now can go into... Well, he's got his reactor coming up on the barracks here. He's got a factory going down, so he could go for Hellions right now. Or even... Well, I'd doubtfully see Widow Mines at this point, because Hellions would be a much better way to end this game. Because he knows our Zerg player doesn't really have very much, because it delayed his expansion for a very long time. So by switching this around, we'll see if he does. And there's the switch. So let's see, I'm betting on Hellions. What do you bet on? Let's see what he does. There's the Hellions. And now these Hellions can actually, once they're finished, they can come up here and sort of clean this out. It doesn't have a queen yet, and the spawning pool has been done for quite some time. So this tells me that, well, now he's starting his queens quite a bit later than would have hoped. This tells me that our Zerg player is relatively new, one of the lower... Can I even see what he put his league as? No, he didn't do it. but he's probably a relatively lower league Zerg player, or he doesn't play Zerg very often, from what I see from this kind of play. Which, hey, that's all right, because the game's all about having fun and it's about learning. So right now, these two Hellions are going to come in and be a whole mess of problems right now, because our Zerg player doesn't really have anything to deal with. He's got one Queen here, he's got another on the way, and he's got about 8 Zerglings that don't have speed yet. So these Hellions can actually just run away from them if they're microed properly. Obviously, if he doesn't micro them, but we've seen that our Terran player actually has fairly decent micro. And he can just kind of scare these Zerglings away, and hopefully buy enough time. What our Zerg player really needs to do right now is drop like an Evo Chamber here and a Spine Crawler here to sort of prevent these Hellions from... They're just going to roast right now. So this tells me that... Oh, yeah. It's pretty clear that our Zerg player here is probably one of the lower league players, but that's okay. I mean, Obsgram's they're great for learning. So... It's a very good learning experience. I mean, right now, our Terran player, he's very focused on his micro right now, but he's not actually doing anything in the background, so he's just making a whole bunch of money. And now he's finally starting to get up here, because he's realized, okay, well, I've done some damage, so now it's time to go back to macroing. That's an okay way to do it, especially in lower league play. You do your damage, then you go back to what you were doing. In the higher league play, obviously, you want to be doing it all at the same time, because then you can kind of keep up that pressure. A Zerg player, he does have a bunch of gas. He could start researching metabolic boosts, but he's not for some reason. But he has to go back into making drones because he did lose an awful lot here from these Hellions, and these Hellions can actually just come in and clean this. Like, our Terran player can basically win the game right now, and we're pretty sure that he's probably going to at this point. So there's not really a whole lot our Zerg player could do. As I said, it looks like he is sort of learning, which is fine. I encourage people to learn things, and I encourage people to keep trying, because the game is all about having fun. So, does make a lot of units. He's making a lot of the same kind of mistakes that I make from time to time, whereas I keep making units instead of making an economy. Which is, you know, for learning, it's okay to do that kind of thing. But as you get up there, you start fixing these kind of errors. But as I said, it's alright. It's all about having fun. As long as he's having fun at this time. I mean, if he's screaming at his computer screen, that's one thing. But as long as he's having fun, enjoying the game, that's all that really matters, right? And, you know, there's the GG, so it's okay. So let's see what comes up next. Let's see if anybody else goes into this. We don't have that many people left. He's going to try again. He's going to try it again as Terran, so that tells me, you know, Zerg might not have been his actual race. So we'll see what happens right now with this TVT. See if he does a little better. And now he says that he's now a diamond. So we'll see what happens this time, which could be a little more interesting. Either that, if he is a diamond Terran player, but he doesn't really know how to play Zerg, then I can understand that. But generally, most people at that kind of level, like, I have an idea on how to play Terran and Protoss. I'm not terribly good at them, but I sort of know what I'm doing, and I sort of know what the units do. So as you get up in there, because you sort of take away from what you watch other people do. Well, some people do, some people don't. I'm the kind of person that I will play a game against somebody, and afterwards, if I do decide to watch the replay, or this is a crazy early scat, so he might actually be trying some type of... no, he's not going to cheese anything. He's just going to go in, look, and come right back, according to this rally point. But that's a crazy early scat. He's not actually going to see all that much at this point. It does take a fair amount of time to cross this map, and because of this, he's not actually building a supply depot in the background. Not yet, anyways. He did drop about 100 minerals, hopefully. There's the supply depot going down. Queued up 2 of them. Interesting choice. So he's going to see that, okay, now there's a barracks coming down. Well, great. I didn't see if he had gas, because my scout was way too early. But hey. He's going to try to do an SCV war here. I'm betting on the charcoal one, because it started first, and there it goes. Charcoal wins, apparently. Better than green. So now he's got 2 supply depots coming down, and now I would hope to see some barracks coming down pretty quickly. By doing your wall here, it does enable you to defend this a little easier. Walling in against Terran is not entirely effective because all of their stuff is ranged. I mean, they can take Marines, they can shoot your buildings down, and you can't shoot back at them, for the most part. Sometimes you can, depending on the angle and the distance that your opponent is, but if they just kind of place the Marines at the maximum range here, they can shoot this down before anything here can shoot back at them. And siege tanks as well also do the same thing. So walling off, not entirely useful, but it's useful against Hellions, I suppose, because Hellions have to get fairly close to actually do stuff. But again, Hellions will kill the Marines behind the supply depot that are shooting at them, so it really doesn't matter. It's kind of a moot point. But we'll see how it turns out. It might turn out better. But anyways, as I was saying, I'm the kind of person that I can play a game against somebody and I can watch the replay and sort of see what they did, and then I can kind of mimic it if I was paying attention. Now, with Terran and Protoss, I'm not exactly good at that, because I don't play them very often as a race, and my timings are kind of strange. Now, with Zerg, I can watch a Zerg replay and be like, okay, I like this strategy, so I'm going to try this. Or, I didn't like that, so I'm not going to do this, kind of thing. And you sort of pick it up along the way. Like when I watch Terran games, like I know, okay, I need to get my orbital commands around 15 supply after my first barracks, because that helps my economy going, since I have to pull SCVs off it to build other things, and so on and so forth. Whereas with Protoss, I don't really know when to actually build stuff. I sort of do it as I go along, really. I make it up as I go along, basically. But I do that with a lot of stuff. I do that with Zerg all the time. It's like, what do I feel like doing today? Oh, I feel like doing this. I feel like doing Zerglings. I feel like doing Banelings. Now, obviously, I will scout out eventually and find out what my opponent's actually doing, because that's helpful. With Terran, obviously, I would stick like an Overlord here, and then just kind of send it across, probably in about a minute or so, and see, oh, okay, he's got a starport, he's got a factory with a tech lab, so I know he's going to be making tanks, and he's got a barracks with nothing on it. So I know there's not much coming my way. And it looks like he's going to be moving out with these 6 Marines and a tank, which will basically take down this wall, if he doesn't have max range. And now we've got a bunch of Marines coming up, queued up. We've got 2 Marines and a Reaper, 4 Marines and a Reaper queued up. So right now, he does have the medevac, so we can actually drop this army, most of this army, in this base, and not much is really going to happen. So this guy said he was a Diamond League. I don't think that's true, though. Diamond League or Terran. But let's see what this kind of epic micro is going to be. Since tanks now get automatic siege mode, it's just really silly. It really changes the TVT matchup, though. Because you don't have to research it. It changes your timings completely. So as I said, the Marines, they can just kind of shoot down this wall, and there's not much you can do about it. And this tank will basically kind of sit back and just hammer this out. And we've got a huge supply difference. Really big supply difference here. So, looks like this game's actually going to end again. Pretty one-sided. Fairly one-sided, actually. Actually, completely one-sided, let's be honest here. So, we'll see if he queues up again. Otherwise, I might if somebody else doesn't. Because it's always fun. I might do this. He's going to try it again as Protoss, so let's see what happens. Maybe he can pull off a better Protoss game. We shall see, though. I don't know. I don't even know how long I've been at this, because the clock in this game keeps resetting. I don't remember when I started. I don't know. We'll find out. Find out at the end of the game. I might play the next one because apparently these have been fairly short. So this might be the last game that I actually do in the recording, but we'll see. I might do a live cast if I decide to jump in the next one. We'll see. Though, I mean, remember the last time I did a live cast, kind of just completely got destroyed. But I'm a little better against a Terran player than a Protoss player. Terran's actually my strongest matchup. The ZVT. It is my strongest matchup. Some people find it frustrating because some people don't like playing against Terran. I kind of do. I don't like mirror matchups, as I've said before, because it's like, well, damn. They can do the exact same thing I can do, but they can probably do it better than I do, so it's kind of frustrating to me. So we've got this guy coming out, dropping his pylon down here. So we'll see if he tries to do a Forge Fast Expand, which would be helpful. I see that's one of his problems here. He's doing this double pylon for no reason. I mean, you make one pylon, you go back to making workers. You make your gateway, you go back to making workers, or you make your forge. Or you make your one pylon, you go up to 15 probes, then you drop your forge, and then, well, you can drop your nexus and then your forge, and then drop another pylon, and kind of continue that way. He's just making pylons. He's making lots and lots of pylons for no apparent reason. He's just spending money, which is not helpful. So I don't know what this guy's up to, but it's kind of interesting and somewhat amusing. So we'll see what he's got planned. We'll see what his master plan is. I'm not entirely sure, because I don't see this play very often. But that's why I like Ob's Adventures, because the games might be good, the games might be bad, it might be somewhere in between. We don't exactly know, and that's where that's where all the fun is, though. Our Terran player sort of seems to know what he's doing. He's going to go for double barracks this time, and there's the refinery coming down, so we shall see what happens afterwards. He already knows what his opponent's up to, though. He knows that, okay, he's made a bunch of pylons and a forge. Okay, what can I do to deal with this? Well, drop another barracks, pick up a refinery, hey. Why the hell not, basically. And so he's dropping cannons in kind of weird places. Your opponent, for the most part, unless it's later in the game, or they're going to try to be really, really sneaky, they're not going to come up this path. Just because these rocks are here. And if you're half-well paying attention, you're going to be able to see what's kind of around here for the most part. So sticking two cannons here, not a good idea, at least at this stage of the game. Sticking cannons here and here, on the other hand, somewhat more helpful, but not amazingly helpful. But he is going to try. See, this makes absolutely no sense now. To kill this with the cannons, unless he's going to try to do a quick 3 bases, which wouldn't make any sense whatsoever. Especially after 5 minutes in the game without having his natural down. So again, I'm not entirely sure what this guy's doing. He might just be having fun, which is great, because the game's about fun. But as from a competitive analysis standpoint, this makes no sense, basically. He's got 2 gateways coming down now, so you might actually start seeing some offensive units from him for the first time in all of the games, but we'll see. And our Terran player is going to start rolling out with these 6 Marines and a Marauder. Of course, these cannons will probably scare this off, especially if he drops another pylon. See, that's a really strange place to put your... From a tactical perspective, this is completely strange. This would obviously be the safer bet, even though you did kill this, so you can reinforce it, and you can take these rocks down to create a wall here, but from the way his defense is sort of set up, this would have been a safer place. Now this kind of keeps it hidden for the time being, because our Terran player may think, okay, well, this is the third naturally, so he's not going to expand here first, so he's kind of mind gaming him, which I can agree with mind games, but again, from a tactical perspective, it's just sort of flawed. And now he's got this one pylon powering these two. Fortunately, these two are powered by this guy, but these two can easily get taken out. But our Terran player knows that, okay, well, there's a bunch of cannons there. So I'm just going to make more stuff. Sort of stream it across the map and see what happens. He's going for a bit of an early pressure to see if he can kind of win this game. Which, from what we've seen in the past, he's playing fairly solidly, but again, his opponent's not playing solidly from a tactical position. He's kind of just having fun, dropping cannons, trying to play defensive. But we shall see. I think I may actually jump into the next game, but I don't think I'll cast it though. I might do it as like a replay cast. If I learn something interesting, just kind of take that portion of it out. But we'll see, because I'm not really that great at talking and playing at the same time. So that pylon's going to go down with no trouble whatsoever. Those two cannons are going to go down with no trouble whatsoever. I mean, they do pick up a number of kills, 5 kills on that one. That probably had about the same. And we got the Sosep going down, and these guys can pretty much just kind of walk in. Decides to try to take out this, and almost take that out. So anyways, as always, good luck out there. My name is Stark, and I shall see you next time.